Hi, everybody. I'm going to talk today about Japanese and Chinese architecture in Taiwan. Taiwan's architecture is like a layered manuscript. Each era has left its mark, each ruler has added a chapter to the story. And for the lovers of history among us, walking through any historic district in Taiwan will reveal remnants of both Chinese and Japanese influences standing side by side. We're going to touch on a little bit of that history today as we explore the theme of architecture. I'm going to talk about a few of the more well-known historical buildings in Taiwan and the differences between them in terms of architectural design. So on the streets of Taiwan today, you might find a Japanese colonial era government building like the Tainan Prefectural Hall. Built in 1916, this structure showcases Neo-Renaissance and Baroque styles, which is really a clear departure from traditional Chinese architecture. It was designed to project modernity, order, and imperial authority. And this building now has a second life as the National Museum of Taiwan Literature. And let's take a look at its interior. First, here is the exterior. This is the building. The Tainan Prefectural Hall, formerly built by the Japanese, and now it serves as the National Museum of Taiwan Literature. That's this building right here. So this gives you an idea of the style that it was built in. As we look at the inside of this building, we can clearly see the sections that were added much later, which creates a juxtaposition of the bygone and the modern, as you can see here. The bygone on the right and the modern on the left, but this is all the inside of the same building that they've renovated over the years. If we go farther south in Taiwan to a city called Kaohsiung, you might have a chance to visit what was known as the Takao Railway Station. It was formerly the Takao Railway Station. It now serves as part of the Kaohsiung Harbor Station. This structure is a wooden train station building that was built during the Meiji period of the Japanese Empire, and it once connected Taiwan with Japan's expanding empire. With its simple yet elegant wooden beams, tiled roofs, and symmetrical layout, it embodies Japanese functional aesthetics. It's practical, understated, and efficient. This is the interior of that former railway station. And it's preserved here as part of the museum so that you can see what it looked like when the Japanese were using it. Next, I want to look at a different building, which is this one. This is one of the most iconic buildings from the Japanese colonial period. This was originally the office of the Governor General of Taiwan. It was completed in Taipei in 1919, and this grand structure is a powerful symbol of that Japanese era. Now, not to dwell too much on the history, but we have to remember that after Japan's defeat in World War II, the Chinese Nationalist Party retreated to Taiwan after it had lost the Civil War on mainland China. So this structure began to be used as the presidential office building in Taiwan, and that's what it is today. So this is the one in Taipei. The design again reflects Neo-Renaissance and Baroque styles, which were common in European-influenced Japanese architecture at the time. But it also incorporates elements of Japanese functionality and simplicity. This building is a testament to Japan's imperial ambitions as it projects order and modernity. And this is an older photograph of it, of its original state back in, I believe, back in, 100 years ago or so. If we look at its architectural features, the building's red brick facade and the symmetrical layout are distinctly Western in influence, but it also features Japanese ornamental elements like a tiled roof with a slight upward curve, reflecting the blend of both cultures. And the clock tower here, which you see in the middle, this was a prominent feature when it was completed, and that also drew on European traditions, but remained Japanese in its execution. So this building not only signifies Taiwan's place within the larger Japanese empire during that colonial period, but it also serves as a physical manifestation of the power of the Japanese administration. And this is in stark contrast to the Confucian ideals that we would find in traditional Chinese architecture, where hierarchy is expressed through symbolism and spiritual concepts rather than architectural grandeur alone. So, turning away from these imposing and symbolic buildings, let's look at something a little different. And before we do that, here are a couple of pictures of the inside of that building, which also give us an idea of this architectural grandeur, I guess you could say. It's very formal looking and clean. And right, so let's go to a different building. This is an architectural world rooted in Chinese philosophy and Confucian ideals. One place that really represents that is the Confucius Temple in Tainan, which is a city in southern Taiwan. This structure stands as a testament to tradition, to scholarship, and to a reverence for the past. So let's now take a little bit of a journey through time here and contrast these two styles, Japanese modernity and Chinese tradition, by stepping inside the oldest Confucian temple in Taiwan. We're going to begin here at the Pangong Gate. This is the Pangong Gate. It's also what we could really just call the main gate. This is the temple's grand entrance. And unlike Japanese architecture, which often emphasizes minimalism and efficiency, Chinese temples are designed to create a sense of ritual and hierarchy. The red brick walls around the periphery of the whole temple symbolize prosperity and tradition. And then we have curved roof tiles, which are often adorned with intricate carvings. And these roof tiles contrast with the simple, straight lines of Japanese architecture. At this main gate here, you can also see a stone calligraphy inscription above the door, above the gate, which sets the tone for the temple. This is a place of wisdom and not just worship. As we step inside, let's first look at the Great Hall, the Dacheng Dian, which is located in the heart of the temple, and it is the most sacred structure in the complex. This is the door coming into the Great Hall. We don't see the Great Hall yet, but we will. This is the most sacred structure in the complex. This hall is dedicated to Confucius, who embodies the ideals of, the building embodies the ideals of balance, order, and Confucian ethics. And unlike the straight sloping roofs of Japanese shrines, Chinese temple roofs curve upward, which symbolizes the embrace of wisdom and the heavens in the form of these sweeping roof lines. In some temples, you will also see what we might call dragon pillars, which are really intricately carved stone columns that depict mythical dragons, representing wisdom, power, and divine protection. You can see what that looks like here. These are the dragon pillars. And you can see these in a lot of temples in Taiwan. There are also the traditional horizontal inscribed boards that you will see above the altar. These bear various inscriptions that venerate and honor Confucius and his legacy. So compared to the Japanese shrines built during the colonial era, the Confucius Temple is more intricate, hierarchical, and deeply symbolic. The Japanese Shinto shrines emphasized natural simplicity, but the Confucian Temple expresses moral and social order through its decorative elements and its spatial layout. One of the most significant structures in this complex is called the Hall of Ethics, or the Minglun the Hall of Ethics. This is a space where scholars once studied the Confucian classics. A feature of this structure is the open courtyards, which we can see here. And this is unlike the enclosed, efficient layouts of Japanese architecture. Confucian learning spaces were designed to encourage introspection and discussion. Another way we can recognize its cultural origins is the wooden beams. Representing the strength and longevity of Confucian teachings, these beams are more ornate compared to the ones used for the simple wooden construction of buildings like the residences that were used to house Japanese samurai. So again, this is the Hall of Ethics that we see in the Confucius Temple. Here's another view of it. And indeed, every year, I wanted to say first that the calligraphy tablets, we can also see those in this section of the temple. These tablets here, inscribed with Chinese characters and Confucian sayings, they served as moral and ethical reminders for students. And that comes into play every year because on September 28th, which is celebrated as the birthday of Confucius, students of all ages gather at this temple to pay their respects and pray for academic success in the coming year. And the philosophical differences between Japanese and Chinese educational spaces are clear here. The Japanese approach to education during the colonial era emphasized westernized efficiency, with classrooms arranged for discipline and centralized instruction. The Confucian approach, on the other hand, focused on moral cultivation and dialogue, which is reflected in the temple's open courtyards and the layered hallways. Surrounding the temple are its iconic red brick walls, which are really a defining feature of traditional southern Chinese architecture. They have a couple of different characteristic functions. One is protection. So unlike the light wooden fences of Japanese shrines, these sturdy brick walls or concrete walls shielded the sacred space from external disturbances. Another function they have is symbolism. The red color represents prosperity and virtue and a respect for tradition. And another aspect of these walls is the kind of interesting, it's the aesthetic contrast that we see here. So these bold red walls really contrast beautifully with the green trees and the blue sky, which creates a visually striking image. We can see that again here. Well, this is the main gate, but you can see the contrast, the aesthetic contrast here. So, while Japanese architecture often integrates natural elements like open-air courtyards and rock gardens, the Confucian Temple prioritizes symbolic enclosure, reinforcing a sense of order, discipline, and a sacred space. And so this type of building, this Confucius Temple, is truly a legacy in stone and in spirit. Structures like the Tainan Confucius Temple, alongside examples of Japanese colonial architecture, tell really two different stories about Taiwan's history. And I think we might call it a dialogue between the two different eras. The Japanese era buildings, like the prefectural halls of Taipei and Tainan, and the Takao railway station reflect modernization, the influence of the Western world, and colonial efficiency. The Confucius Temple, in contrast, represents tradition and scholarship and the enduring power of Chinese cultural heritage. Despite their differences, these two styles coexist harmoniously in Taiwan today. Walking through the island's historic streets, one can witness a dialogue between the past and the present, between tradition and modernity. I hope you've enjoyed this journey through time and architecture. And the next time you visit the cities of Taiwan, I think you will see both Japanese and Chinese influences with new eyes and appreciate the blend of cultures that have produced its unique architectural landscape through the fusion of Chinese, Japanese, and Western influences. Thank you.